United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, please help us to be strong leaders with integrity, reliability, and commitment to our community. Please help us to serve with sincere compassion, honesty, and grace. Please give us open eyes to see the needs of our city and open ears to hear perspectives that may differ from our own. Help us to always remember the needs of the few as we make decisions for the many. Thank you for this opportunity to serve the city of Falmouth. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. We're going to, Steve said, as long as we follow what's on the agenda, we don't actually have to go in the same order of the agenda. So we're going to move Paul up. Do you want to go ahead and go so that way he can get out of here? And we printed off, this is the proposed budget for 26-27 year. So if we want to move anything, look at
Easier to read.
these.
They're easier to read.
Okay.
So those 2 pages to Lisa, that first page was all scratched up there.
Fix it lots.
I made a couple changes to it.
Oh, the
It's
first 2
basically the
pages
same
on
thing.
the, gotcha. Yeah, and then the breakdowns on the packet. Gotcha.
So the one that's portrait-wise is the governmental funds. So this is what we look at when we look at the monthly reports. So across the top are our funds or our bank accounts of the governmental funds. So the general reserve, ABC, road, etc. And then the revenues are what we're budgeting the revenues to come in at by the line items, which fund that money's going to go into. If you take the beginning surplus, which is the very first line, add in all the revenues, that gives you your total resources available. So right what we started with, and what we're going to bring in, that's how much money we got to work with in total. So the very top right corner up there, $986,100 is what we have here as our beginning surplus. It may be a little higher than that, but I want to be conservative on this. So you take that 986, you add in all the revenues that are going to come in. We'll have 2,996,000, which is the first line part there. And then from that 2,996,000, we'll have the expenditures for mayor and council / general government, police, fire, public works, streets and sidewalks, and transfers. So what you have available, what you're going to spend, what you have left. So on this governmental side right now, we're going to start out at 986 and end at 986. Meaning the change for the year is going to be 0. Whatever comes in has been allocated to spend. Now it's obviously your choice. All the details are behind. Those other pages tell you what makes up the numbers on that front page. So when you have time, go through those, but those numbers all roll up into this front. And it's, it's your city. You're the city council. You can move this money however you want. This is how much you're going to have to work with.
And that was kind of it with, because I wanted to take, so obviously the city's not broke. We are still sitting on $1 million in the general fund. That was even after we transferred the money for that investment money, right?
That includes the investment money.
Included, so that's included in the total still.
Yeah.
Okay, but we still have.
Right, you still got $1 million basically.
Yeah. And I want to, like those streets, so we've included what we're getting from the LARP money, and then plus the road aid that we're getting into, and what was left in there. So that's already 326, but we have to have, and that should cover the match money almost portion of what we were supposed to have to do Shelby and the streets we're already doing. I would like to take another $300,000 from what we have left, and move that to the streets, to pave more streets this year, to at least get 2 more to 3 more done, on top of the 4 we're already doing.
If you can spend that surplus money.
Because we have money invested now.
If you don't spend it, it's
save,
going to sit there for the following year. If you're allowed to spend that money, you can save that money. Now, you don't want to spend it out of 0 because the next year you don't have any money to start with. But if you end up spending a little more this year than we bring in, it's going to decrease the surplus from 900,000 maybe to 800,000, but you're allowed to do that. It's still a balanced budget because we still have money and we can't spend more than what we have.
Yeah.
And obviously, we can't spend another $1 million, we'd be upside down. The million surplus would be gone from the main expenditures, and then we'd be upside down, so we can't do that. But you can spend more than you brought in a particular year.
So basically, it would take our surplus extra money down to
$686,000 instead of $986,000 when we end the next budget year, so I would like to take,
I threw some more into the streets and sidewalks in the general fund.
okay,
I couldn't get it up to another 300, but I put a chunk in there.
where are we at?
It's in the general fund because the money was not in the road fund, so it's
Yeah.
right down
Oh,
there.
Okay, oh, and streets, gotcha, so you
Yeah, so
did
it's-
put that 300 that we talked about already in there.
Yeah, I got close.
Yeah, I mean, that's good, so 254 would be, that should,
254 out of the general fund, 320 out of the road fund, and you could spend a total of 574
Okay.
on roads.
does that sound okay with you guys?
Just no matter what pocket you wanna take, which fund
Yeah.
you wanna take it out of, but we can spend both of those on streets.
So you've already got it in there.
Yeah, he's already got it,
Yeah,
yeah.
most of it's already in there.
Let me ask you a dumb question. So the beginning surplus up here at the top right-hand corner,
Yes.
that's what's left over from this year.
That's what I'm
Mhm.
projecting, we had left over June 30th,
And next year will be the same.
and next year will be the same.
That's even after he's put another $300,000
Right.
extra into,
Streets and
streets and sidewalks, which I just wanna focus on paving streets right now, eventually maybe we can get to sidewalks, but, and then that still leaves, if there's, we do need to tear down those 2 houses on Shelby, and we would need to budget for, any other projects you guys wanna do, and like we could move, I don't know how much it would cost to tear those houses down, but we could move like $30,000 until, so that way we don't have to come back and do a budget amendment. We could do another line item for the dilapidated properties that need to be addressed and just put like,
Because we were putting 45,000 in there a year, just for that purpose.
yeah,
We didn't use it, it was there in case, I mean, we used some of it, we didn't use all of it.
yeah,
It was there. We didn't have it last year, I guess.
no, I think it was in there, I just don't think we ever spent it.
Right.
Or maybe it was part of what was budgeted from the LGEA money that wasn't actually included in our budget ordinance, so it just kinda sat. So, but we need to put some money into that, cause we do have some houses that we need to address and go ahead and take care of that, so we could put $45,000 into the dilapidated properties. If not, I'm gonna end up coming back asking you guys for the money once we get all the paperwork all done and I go and try and put it up for bid to tear them down, so. I'd rather not do a budget amendment every time we gotta come do
We
something.
had to put it in, but it hurts to put it in, and whatnot.
Yeah,
We had to spend it.
So- we need to do another line item for dilapidated properties or whatever, however you wanna word that.
Blighted properties.
There we go, blighted
Blighted,
properties.
That's the word.
That's the right word.
I noticed the occupational tax only has 200,000 on there because we did 1.5%, and based on the county, I think at 1% it was 180. So I was thinking it'd be closer about 1 or 270. if that
Yeah,
case.
and it may be, one thing we gotta consider is, even though that goes into effect July 1st,
Yeah, that's true.
we're only gonna collect 3 quarters in that fiscal year because they pay in arrears.
Mhm.
So we're not gonna get a payment at all July, August, or September, so the first quarter's gonna go by, we're gonna get 0. Money will start coming in October for that previous quarter,
Mhm.
so I've tried to factor it down a little bit, and then
And then we
took a
wanted
little
to be
bit
on
more
the
down
safe
just to
side.
Makes sense.
We weren't 100% sure what it would bring in, so we wanted to play it safe,
Yeah.
so that
Okay.
the next year we'll have a better idea of what it actually brings in, and you'll have a full year's, cause you won't have a quarter since
Right.
you collect 4 payments in a
Years
year
from now,
instead
which
of this year we're only gonna collect
collections
3
in there.
payments,
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
What's the
Yeah.
amount you wanted for blighted properties? How much?
45 or
45.
whatever.
And the insurance tax too, which is another big revenue line on here, we're gonna collect more than $450 this year, which is kind of way up from the year before. I was afraid to put in like $490, because I don't know what that's gonna be
Right.
until the money shows up for the insurance company, so I backed that down a little bit, but that may be some cushion in there as well.
Yeah.
So if that ends up being closer to 500, and occupational comes in at, well, they have two, it comes in at, 230 or 240.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you get another $100,000 in your governmental funds that you can use for projects.
And then at some point they'll actually start paying the the net profits tax on occupational stuff too, but we don't know what
Yeah,
that is,
we
so
have
we
no
didn't,
idea.
yeah, we didn't, so we didn't even add that, so.
Not in there at all.
So at some point
That is
next
what-
year, you'll have a better idea of what those
Yes.
things will bring in, but we were just trying to play it safe on what we were saying was gonna be our actual revenue. Is there anything else you guys can think of that we need to make sure that we budget for?
Is, cause it's an election year, like, let's say worst case scenario, that all 6 of us on council and mayor changes over, do we have a budget for the KLC training?
No, we do not. Which other way though, we need a budget for the KLC
No.
training, cause
Yeah.
even if we get reelected, I think, I mean,
Yeah.
I've gone twice now, I think it's really beneficial to go,
Mhm.
you know, everybody that can go to go. So yeah, we do need to make sure we budget in for that. Rick, do you remember how much that is? Or you weren't here then? I'm gonna say it's like $200 and some dollars.
Good thing.
I wanna say it's like $200 some dollars, maybe each person for registration, but then they pay for hotel rooms too. So if Megan could get us a number, and then maybe put in a little more cushion in there, cause like I know I signed up for, you know what, I did a training today, grants, and then I've signed up for like 3 or 4 other different, summer webinars, so they're like $90 or something each or something, $25 each. And these are available to you guys too, if you guys want to, it's not just for me, you guys should be getting the KLC emails, and it'll tell you, and they've got all these webinars this year that are really beneficial with the budget and audit process and ethics and different things, they're like an hour long, today's was not even 30 minutes, so they are helpful though with some things, if you guys are more than welcome to take advantage of that too. So we do need to put some money in there for training, and then we have to make sure Megan's training's paid for too. Cause you're going to some trainings,
Yeah, I'll be going to next year.
so,
Alright, we'll find those amounts and get them in here.
yep,
So these numbers tonight, we're not doing the first, this is
So
not.
yeah,
the
no,
one
this
that's-
is
we're not
for
doing
us
first
to
reading
change
tonight.
anything.
This is just for you to digest.
because once we do the first
Make changes,
reading,
make
second reading,
suggestions.
like, we wanna get through those processes without having to call special meetings,
Right.
cause we have to have this done by the end of June. So we'd rather not call special meetings, so any questions you guys have or wanna make changes, now would be the time to start bringing it up. And we did get the police budget down to 738.
Yes, and I think we wanted to get it to 750 or so, it's 738 right now. So,
And then I would like to, instead of just, I would like to line item pass a, I would like to pass a line item budget this year. Where here the last few years, we've just been doing large numbers. But-
Yeah, like a lock them for, I mean, I think.
And they've got the line items.
Better.
It is.
so there's 2 concepts there. We've got the line items for every department, because that's how we get the total numbers. Those line items are in the packages there, so we take supplies and repairs and fuel and salaries and retirement. Those numbers all roll up into these front numbers. Whatever ordinance you pass, whatever's physically on that ordinance, that becomes the law of the land. And if there's any overspending from that, then you have to get the budget amendment. If we do, so we can either pass the budget like in a summary form like this, or we could pass the budget in the ordinance that's got, 20 pages of ordinance because it's got all the details. If you do it that way, then if a department would spend more in fuel than we had budgeted, you have to come back and do a budget amendment to say, can you increase their fuel and decrease their supplies, or can you increase their repairs and
True.
decrease their training?
True, that is,
And some cities do that. If we do it at the top level, even though we've got that support, you don't need to do a budget amendment unless a department has spent over their budget in entirety, if that makes sense. So if we take the 738 police number now, and you approve this as your ordinance, this page here is the ordinance. If the police spend more than 738, that takes a budget amendment. If you make the ordinance the detail,
then anytime that
Then
they
anytime
need,
they
yeah.
spend a line item over that.
Cause this has
you
been
have
a
to
lot
do
easier
budget.
just to do with the larger numbers, but I guess that's it, at least now, I think the hiccup came before was that they were over budget and we didn't
Right.
know. So
Didn't know.
now at least we know that if they are going to go over budget, like where we're amending the budget, like we'll know ahead of time before they go over
Yeah.
budget.
So that's totally up to you what kind
Yeah.
of
Okay, no,
control
I'm
you
good.
want at the ordinance level, because the ordinance becomes the legal level of authority.
Yeah, I'm good with doing the
and
ordinance,
that's where
just
you
on the
can't
summary
spend
then.
more.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would recommend that this page becomes the ordinance, council passed the following ordinance, this is it. All the detail behind it supports it, but that's not the ordinance. This becomes the ordinance and the law of the land.
Plus we got Paul over here guarding the purse string, so I think we'll be okay. Do you guys want to put some money in a separate line item for like projects
Any kind of
or?
projects you wanna do? Because you got a little cushion right now, we're gonna start at basically $1 million, into the million. If you wanna spend 50,000 on some projects in the city, go into, $7,950,000.
Is there money for, did we put in money for the we did we followed on like the mayor council, kind of what we'd already spent this year, that's right, so like the festival and that kind of stuff
Yeah,
is,
so there's already cost in
Yeah.
there for those.
So should we add more for this because of the training, mayor and council?
because last year the training, none of us went to training because there was no new elected officials
Right.
training, so we do need to make sure
Yeah,
we
we'll
add in
come up a
enough
little bit
for
for
that
that.
training. Just because last year we didn't actually have that much of an expense there because it wasn't a budgeted thing.
So if we didn't spend it last year, it didn't
Yeah.
end up being in the budget this year.
Yeah, cause the training last year, we've only spent like 279 for mayor council or something. So like this year we're only budgeting 500, so yeah, we need to,
Yeah, without that. so-
yeah. And we do already have 20,000 in here for blighted properties, so you don't need to add in a full,
Enough.
that it's
Yeah,
already
just
in,
get us
yeah,
that.
it's already in the mayor council, so we can just add in another 20, just the mayor council then for the blighted properties.
Yeah, I think we have 18,000 in there now for economic development.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of projects.
Yeah.
So there's that much that's already in there. So again, if you wanted to put a little more in and do something you had in mind, you could do that. If not, we can spend up to the 18.
Red, is search and rescue supposed to come at some point?
Yeah, they're gonna come, our next meeting.
So yeah, that's the other, like, that's something we need to add in.
How much is that gonna be? We know.
I don't know.
I forget what we gave them last year.
7,500.
There we go. Cause we basically, it covers their insurance. Is there any more general fund ideas or things you guys can think of that we need to?
I just hear usually the most complaints is about streets and sidewalks,
Yeah,
so.
me
And I think we're putting a big chunk into that this year, so.
Yeah, if you guys do, as it is right now, it's a big chunk of money to go towards it, so,
It needs it.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I would tell.
You guys ready to jump over to the utility fund?
Sure.
Yeah.
Take a look at it, so it's the landscape one, so we can read it, and it's the same concept. At the top right is what I estimate the beginning surplus is gonna be, so that's gonna be left in the bank accounts come June 30, my estimate. We'll add in the revenues, take out the expenses, and then ending surplus, which is the next to last line on the bottom, what I think we end up at for the year, and then the change is just the difference between the two. So on the utility side, on the budget, I'm showing we're gonna spend $177,000 more than we're gonna bring in for the year. Which means the surplus is gonna go from 600 and some thousand down to 400 and some thousand. It's kinda like the current year we're in now. We're seeing that we started out with about 800,000. In the fiscal year we're gonna end up 600 and some thousand. We're going from 600,000 to 400,000. 400,000 to 200,000 fiscal year 28. That's what we
Cause
gotta
our
fix.
sewer
We gotta
plant's
fix
losing
sewer at
money.
some point.
Yeah. And he still has the garbage in there because we are essentially funneling that money through, cause we're collecting the garbage fee and then we're paying that out to Rumpke, so that's still
Yeah, it's
included
just-
in here,
it's a
so it's
pass-through.
not, yeah.
But we're gonna receive the money and pay out the money, so it needs to be budgeted for somewhere. So, on this one here, we got electric, water, sewer, garbage, and utility office, which is the overhead part of running that business, which gives us total utility, and then we got our 3 reserve funds, which gives us the total proprietary. So, if we start out with electric, estimated coming in is 2.2 million, estimated expenditures 1.9 million. And that includes transferring, as you see, 111,000 from electric to electric reserve, to set money aside, which we've been doing for a while now. So electric would have a positive year of $241,000. That's good. Water would bring in a little over $1 million, and that includes the rate increase for the wholesale rate study that we did. Water expenses, the transfers out to water reserve, water would have a positive year of 89,000. Sewer, bring in 594,000 and spend $1 million. It's gonna have a negative year of 583,000, which is similar to what we're doing this year, because nothing's really changing.
And the electric, that includes if I end up finding an electric foreman, right? Cause I see that it's included in the salary for that
Yeah,
one,
put a
yeah,
line
yeah,
salary in there,
yeah.
and took out some of the contract repair expenses.
yeah.
I left some repair expenses, because if we have a line, we're still gonna have some costs of supplies and stuff for the repairs. So sewer's got the big loss, garbage will be a wash, what we bring in, we're giving Rumpke. And the utility office, gets credit for the penalty money that comes in, and then has some expenses for office staff here, and some overhead expenses to run the utility department. So overall, the utilities themselves would be negative 369. When we add back in what we transferred out, we're taking money from our left pocket, put it in our right pocket, if that makes sense. Take it from here and stick it over here, so we add those back and it ends up being a negative 177 for the year. If that was a blip, and we had a year where we spent 177,000, what we brought in, that would be okay, but this has been a trend now for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna, at some point, it's gonna come to an end. I mean, we can't spend more than we bring in year after year after year after year. And it's been too many years now that
Yeah.
that we're going in that direction, so. I
Which
think
the
budget
wholesale
purpose-
rate increase has helped a lot. We'll do another one of those in 6 months, and then we're gonna discuss the reclassifying the water and sewer customers tonight to try and generate more revenue and get them, cause the electric is what's kinda carrying everything,
Definitely electric carries the utility department.
and the electric needs money put back into it, yeah.
Water does okay, and sewer's kills.
Yeah.
So I think for budget purposes, there's not much you can do. I think you're gonna have to pass a budget, numbers similar to this that shows the
Yeah.
decrease. Because that's where we're at right now.
Until we
Sometime
can
during
get,
this
yeah,
next fiscal year or later this, or next fiscal year,
we plan on making an adjustment now, to start getting that on track and then revisiting that when we do the, when we do the water side again in 6 months, revisiting the whole thing to
Revisit
see.
sewer again at that point.
Cause we're gonna do this reclassifying now, and that'll kinda give us a better idea on what that difference is in the income with our non-city rep customers.
Right.
And kinda give us something to gauge, before we do anything else. So that'll help somewhat. And then, I was gonna ask something else and then I just kinda forgot about it. And then we have that money that's coming in here soon, but you're gonna do separate line items for those, for the projects.
Right.
To keep all that separate from our actual funds, so
It's
they
not-
are
none
the
of that
projects.
project money's in here either,
Yeah,
the revenue or the expenses yet.
yeah, and then once that comes in though, that's still gonna be a separate thing from our actual utility and general fund, just
Right.
so that way cause it's already spent. We don't wanna, don't need it going anywhere because people are gonna wanna get paid once those are done, so. So it's good to know that there's still money left in those accounts, cause I've been improving some things. We're doing some poles, the electric poles are getting replaced. That's like 40,000 almost. We've got Buchanan coming in to start lining the manholes, and they're coming in at they're trying to do $40,000 worth of work at a time, so we're not having to bid it all out. And then the repairs from last weekend are gonna be costly whenever, we were getting, Wyatt's is getting a pad, but that was only like 12,000 for the pad that they're building. But I really am wanting to hire the lineman though, because we need somebody that's qualified to work on our equipment, is what we're paying Epps, between Epps, Williamstown and Paris. I mean, it's expensive. It's really expensive, and then that and things like with Wyatt's having 3 pole transformers basically in a metal shed behind their building, like qualified linemen probably would have told us maybe 10 years ago that they need to fix that. They need an actual like pad where it's not pole transformers that had mud on them from '97, like that much mud on top of them. It's crazy, the little things. So I think it would really help that, and they can start doing a lot of the electric, starting to work through some of the issues, like they can set poles in, because the guys can help them, we just need an actual journeyman lineman that can lead the crew. So that'll help a lot.
It'd be nice to get somebody that's retired.
Yeah, I don't know if they want that to be a
Part-time
full,
or something.
it would be a full-time job. Cause they'd have to come in when we have outages, and like they would be our on-call person to come in, so we're not having to call Epps down here or Williamstown, or, because like if there's a lot of storms, well, Epps sends people out of town. So then like the one storm not long ago, Williamstown came down for us, and then we ended up having to get Paris to come up here and help us. So, I mean, it's kinda like trying to run a water plant without a licensed operator. It just doesn't work for so long. And once Gary's left, Gary was able to do a lot of the stuff, but now that without Gary, you're like, it's just be a lot more cost effective, and then they can start making some of these changes and fixing some of it, because there's a lot of little issues, and my understanding is Epps is getting to the point that they don't really care to come down here so much, because some of our stuff is just so outdated, and it's, you know. So.
When's the next meeting that the first reading's gonna take place? Is that next Thursday?
No, It is the 8th.
Okay.
Which, unless you guys have any questions, I mean, we can either have Paul come back on the 8th, or you guys can email him, call him, because we're just gonna pass.
If you got any comments or things to add into it, just let me know in the next,
Yeah,
because we're already getting to May here, I guess, in the next, week, 4, 5, 6 days, I can get it updated on here, that way when you guys meet on the 8th, that will be
the ordinance that
the
we're
ordinance.
passing. So then we don't have to call any special meetings and we can get it done
Right.
between the 8th and the 18th. Because 18th would be the final of the second reading.
And even though you don't want to, you can always amend it.
Yeah.
You can amend the budget a month after we pass it, and then change it, I'm gonna spend more here, less here. So we wanna get as right as we can, but it can be amended, and there's a mechanism to do that, so.
You guys have any questions?
None about the budget, but could you send us our profit and loss statements?
Yes, I
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
I got it.
okay.
You got it.
Oh,
I
you
got
did?
it.
Okay.
If anybody has anything, contact me directly, run it through Megan or Sabrina, or call me or email me, or whatever you want to do.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice night.
You guys too.
And now we're gonna go back to the agenda here. We're gonna go to the acceptance of the minutes for the meeting for May 7th. Brad, can I borrow your book, your big ordinance book? No, I get it.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from May 7th.
A second.
Thank you. So now we're gonna go to the, oh, sorry, everybody in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And now we're gonna go to the reclassifying the water and the sewer customer rates. I think what the committee had discussed, do you wanna take that over?
Yeah, so if you remember last time, I showed the big not PowerPoint, Excel sheet grid with all the numbers and all that. I think for our first pass, we want to do just kind of focus on just breaking it out into the 4 categories and just doing like an initial change. We were talking in the committee meeting that it looks like what we're wanting to look at is city residential would stay the same for water and sewer. City commercial would increase like $2 per 1,000 gallons for water and sewer for each tier. And then outside city residential would increase $5 per 1,000 gallons water sewer per each tier. And then outside city commercial would be +7 per 1,000 gallons water sewer for each tier. So with that being said, I guess I could probably tidy that up and then ship it over to
We want you to draft an
Steve.
ordinance, basically. But we also,
let's say if there's any other comments.
we wanna remove ordinance, the 54.195. And that's because the sewer rates are repeated twice through our ordinances. It's in the water sewer rates, but then it's also like at the very end of the sewer use. And that one at the very end of sewer use wasn't even updated the last time they did an increase to begin with. So we think we should just take it out of there so it's not repeated, so it's not
You
overlooked.
said 54,095.
It's 54.195. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just.
If you want to send me the numbers, did you want to change it to?
Yeah, I'll send you the final numbers, make it easier, more explicit. But I think, you know, we'll just kind of leave it at that until we get the next rate study, and then we'll take it from there.
Which the PSC had messaged back Mark Frost, the guy that did our wholesale rate study, asking what we were doing with the residential, with the other customer rates, because they like to see that it's not just one set of people getting increases, which he did send them. Our most recent rate increase was like 2019, so I think it's 2018 or 19, so it's been like 6 years, 7 years.
18.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, at least for water, I think sewer was increased in what, 2022?
I think the sewer was, yeah, it was
I
increased
know when I
later.
first started living in the city.
That was when they were
saying-
finished in the lagoon, cause they needed to increase when they took out the loan for the lagoon project out there. They needed to increase it a little bit to get the loan through KAA or whatever. So thankfully, since we got this money from the Scripps Foundation and with that grant's going to the sewer plant, cause if we would have tried to apply for a loan for the sewer stuff, like they're gonna make us do an increase to cover that cost, cause right now the sewer plant's losing money. But, the PSC though wanted to know what we were doing, and I told them that we'd be reclassifying the customers in that. And the agreement when I sat down and did that whole thing with the 2 water districts was that going forward down the road, this was to catch them up, but going forward down the road, then if we were looking at more increases, then we would look at across the board what those would be in the rate study. So this would just get everybody separated. And in the book that we were looking through, it seemed that any city that had customers classified for non-city and city, it was like $5 difference is how they were doing theirs. Or some cities just don't allow people to hook up to their city systems without annexing. Like it's not an option. Indiana they don't have separate rates because they don't give the option. If you want city services, you have to annex. So, which is something that maybe the city should start doing. But do you guys have any questions or comments or thoughts or? I mean, right now the city residents won't be getting an increase for sewer or water.
Correct.
And then we'll have a better idea of what the difference actually brings in. We know that there's like what 230 or 250 residential non-city customers, and there was what 11 businesses or
That was
something.
only like 5. Yeah.
But we would actually have a better idea of what that actually actually produces.
And then we figured like at least like outside residential, so $5 per 1,000 gallons, and most I think on average was what 3,500. So it's like $20-ish on either side for sewer and water. So about $40 increase is what they'd be looking at for monthly bills. on average.
I know my house uses a lot more, it's like 6,000, but
I mean, if it's $40 total, and if there's 250 customers, residential customers outside city limits over 12 months, that's about $120,000. So just one with that. Of course, split between water and sewer, but still.
so about 60,000 each system. Yeah, so I mean, that would be a start to getting our sewer plant out of the red without it going onto the city residents to carry the cost.
Yeah, still a long way to go.
We'll get there.
Who knows, maybe it'll bring in more than what we think. Maybe we'll be shocked. I should have asked Paul how much longer we had on those loans, but I still know it's a couple years. Cause that'll make the big difference with the sewer plant. We have 4 loans that we're paying on the sewer plant right now, so once those are done being paid for, the sewer plant won't be losing so much money. You guys
How
have
many
any,
years is it? I know you told me and Ramona told me one time, but how many?
there, do you know how many off the top of your head? Well, I know we have 4 loans, but do you know when the payoffs were on them?
Is that helpful in any way?
Some of it's your.
Probably not.
Yeah, well, I mean, cause we're paying, I think it's like $200 and some thousand towards the principal of the loans.
It's something like that.
We still owe, how old is this?
That's right.
We still owe about $22,500,000 between all the loans. The most recent one, of course, is that one they took it in 2017 to do that retention basin out there. But the actual
Except those two.
plant loan, what says maturity date's 2028, so the actual plant gets paid off in December of 2028, so it's almost paid off. That extension line that we still owe 78 on, it's not gonna be paid off to December 2030. God, we're really getting that
Was
close.
that the one up in the high school?
Yeah. So the sewer plants will be paid off in 2028, so another 2 years. Then 2 years after that, that extension line gets paid off. And then pump station.
Pump station.
Yeah, that's not till 32, and then the other 2 don't have dates. But they were just taken out in 2017, so it's probably because they have a while to go. But the plant itself is almost paid off, we're getting there.
You think, well, I mean, obviously it all would depend on after election and New Year and stuff, but do you think the, incoming county, presumably, elected people would be open to trying to somehow explore, growing the network of sewer, customers?
I don't know. I mean, so essentially it was supposed to go south and we were supposed to take over East Pendleton's package plant that's down south that has, what's that, Jenkins Lane and Stevens Lane and all that. And we were supposed to get all those customers. The plant itself was supposed to be regionalized to begin with, and that's why it's called like the regional plant, but it's not, it's just the city's plant. I mean, this would be, is we would have to put in all the infrastructure and all that. The county doesn't have East Pendleton does that packaging plant, but they don't want any part of taking on any more sewer, I'll tell you that much. And the only reason they're not gonna give that packaging plant up now at this point is because they just got grant money for it within the last couple of years to do a bunch of work at it, so now they're not gonna give it up. So that means that we would have to put in all the infrastructure and maintain all the lines. Which we let I think it's 2 or 3 people on Farmers Lane linked on last year. But
I'm just curious, cause like looking at being $583,000 in the hole what ungodly amount of sewer rate would have to be achieved to make the current customer base break it even. Like, just feels like it is likely unsustainable.
Well, no, if we did a residential increase, it would it would get us out of the red. I'm not gonna lie, it would, cause our residents, we had what, 600 or 700 city resident.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we have a lot of city customers. So if we did an increase like that, not $5, but like it would add up, we'd get out of the red quicker.
Have to crunch the numbers.
I mean, maybe some people out there on Edmond Road would do, I don't know if that would be easier, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe up there in Catawba, just run them down on gravity lines down, cause if you don't have the slope for the gravity lines, you gotta put pump stations in to get it pumping. So like the stuff from the high school comes all the way down, then comes across underneath the bridge into town, and then gets pumped back out through that pump right there behind Wyatt's, that pump thing, and that pump we need to do some work on. It needs to be bigger or something at some point. So I don't think anything else, we can't take in anything else more coming down that way. That and, people have septic tanks, so they don't really,
Yeah.
I think they'd rather keep their septic tanks and pay sewer rates.
You know, that's what it all ends up being, now
Yeah, it's not like the
they don't
water.
wanna let go, but.
Yeah, I mean the septic tanks are pretty low maintenance for the most part, I think. Yeah, so it's just the cost of what putting them in and all that, and every now and again you gotta get them cleaned out, but I mean overall, they're pretty much, so what, they're not gonna wanna voluntarily be like, oh yeah, let me hook into your sewer system, just pay you. Water, they have to bring it in themselves, so I guess that's why more people hook up for water. But everybody that has water, I think south of town also has sewer. But it's just they didn't go all the way down to Jenkins. I think it stops at Hammer. Everything stops there. You guys have any other thoughts? Questions, concerns, comments? Yes or no? Do you like that idea? Do you want to change any of that? Do you want to? Suggestions at all? Okay. We're going to turn it over to Steve now.
All right. This is an ordinance of the city of Falmouth, ordinance number 2026-2, an ordinance amending the Falmouth ordinance 2025-9, and the budget adopted thereby for the city of Falmouth for the fiscal year beginning on January 1st, 2025 and ending on June 30th, 2026. There is the attached exhibit which shows you what is being changed. This is a second reading.
We actually need a motion and a vote for this one now. So call me when you have one coming on, but I've never actually said that. That's because Jen would have this number.
I make a motion to pass the amendment.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Yes.
All right.
Next piece of legislation is Resolution 2020, Resolution 05.28.26, a resolution approving the mayor's reappointment of Karen Crozier to the Pendleton County, you can tell who's not from the city, to the Pendleton County Joint Board of Adjustments for a 4-year term effective July 1st, 2026, and then June 30th, 2030, filling the vacancies to the board.
Just need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint her to the board.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Next piece of legislation is Resolution 05.28.26-1, a resolution approving the mayor's reappointment of Jeff Carson to the Pendleton County Joint Board of Adjustments for a 4-year term effective July 1st, 2026, and ending June 30th, 2030, filling the vacancies to the board.
And I just need a motion and a second, and Joyce can't motion this one, so someone else is gonna have to do it.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Jeff Carson to the Pendleton County Joint Board of Adjustments.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Okay, now it's back to me. Request for bids for street paving, so we are gonna put out bids for the streets that we are getting the LARP money for, because we have to pay those ones, and that's the rest of Woodson, the rest of Park,
Beach.
all of
Shelby.
Beach, the rest of Shelby, from the railroad tracks all the way down to past the water plant there, and then 4th Street, east and west. And then I put more money in there. I would like to do South Liberty and Barkley this year. I think if we put it out for bid, we'll have an idea of what that will give us, and then if we have more money left over at that point, we could bid out more streets. I think that, I know Pendleton needs done, Dickerson needs done, they all need done, every street probably, realistically needs, yeah, South Liberty's like crumbling when you first turn on, that, and they retain a lot of water. Pendleton is just so wide that I think that maybe if we can hold off till next year to try and do Pendleton. Barkley doesn't have any streets or curbing, so it won't need milled like the other ones that have this side of East 4th Street won't need milled down because there's no curbing, gutters and all that. Like Shelby Street's gonna need a lot of milling.
Pendleton needs a lot of milling, a lot.
Pendleton will too, yeah, and so will Liberty. So that's why I don't think we could, I think if we kinda did Barkley and maybe South Liberty. They all need it, Fish Street needs it, Silver Street, we could name, are you guys, what are y'all's thoughts or suggestions?
No, those are usually the streets that I hear of. For the rest of Woodson, so you're saying out towards Miracle Point on it? That way?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that park where it wraps around across the railroad tracks.
Beach.
What was I gonna say?
In every street, they are already jetted.
Yeah.
All the streets that we've already identified that the LARP's doing. They're waiting for us to figure out what other streets we're gonna do. They're gonna jet those ones too. And they've also cameraed, they've cameraed all of Beach. They've started cameraing forth, because any sewer line work that needs to get done, we're going to do before they do any paving. We had Summit looking over the footage. Beach Street, a lot of it's new, thankfully. But they're also gonna let us know what we can line, or today even, and we had water here today for a lead line service replacement, but he was even talking about with some of this pipes we have, lining doesn't always work, but there's another process that they do where they basically put this line thing in and then they run another pipe through it. So, which would again not require us to dig up the road. So we're trying to identify how we can make any repairs that need to get made. If they need sewer lines completely replaced, we gotta get that done before they're paving, cause we're not doing it after. And then they're trying to identify the service lines and make sure that, like, I know there's no galvanized lines on these streets that we're talking about, the galvanized, they're on some other streets in town. As far as the main lines, I think a lot of our service lines might be galvanized, and we kind of were talking about that with Rural Water today, about those are gonna have to be replaced at some point too. So I'm trying to get them to identify everything that needs to get done before we do any paving. So,
Road aids every year, right? Like we apply for
the
each
LARP
year.
funds aren't though, cause it's based off of the, legislators' budget, so we can submit for that again next year. And would find out the following year if they would get anything. And I have been trying to understand better, like I was on the AID meeting today for the board of directors thing, and they had applied for some money, some type of match money thing, and it was about safer streets and whatever and it was for the smaller, it was for not the big counties in the ad, it was for us, Grant County, Carroll, and what's the other one over there? Cannot think, no, Grafton's, it's us, Grant, Owen, there we go, and Carroll, yeah. So I was gonna email them and find out what exactly they were talking about there, so I'm trying to find some other options. And then District 6 supposed to come out and look at 22 here, where it's caving in, which that's a state road. But while they were here, I'm trying to find out through them what other options are there for any kind of road money. But the LARP money, we have to wait again another year.
It was a case of like, say, Pendleton, Dickerson, we would be able to apply for that while.
No, but that's what I'm trying to find out, if there's another way or another path to go there. But we got 40,000 this year, and that comes in every year though, that part of the road aid.
Yeah.
But it might be less road aid this year because the governor put the state of emergency in on the tax, on the fuel tax. And then he's trying to extend that now, cause I got a letter, they want all the mayors and judge execs and everyone to sign this letter and send it back in support to try and keep that. I think they were trying to extend it to was it the end of June, is that the letter said or something? So another month and so that will, I guess that is like the road money. So that might play into some of our road aid next year, but they're trying to keep that money in people's pockets right now to keep the fuel tax off people, so. But we might have more money next year because we're kind of playing it on the cautious side on what the revenue's gonna come in with the taxes and things, so. I think, my hope is that we can still get like Pendleton and Dickerson done next year. And maybe another smaller street or two.
Yeah.
Or maybe, Robbins over here, or, not trying to neglect one part of the town or the other part of the town, but. Like I know this side of Robbins needs it. Cause they did to the bridge at some point on Robbins.
When Alonda was mayor, they laptop from 27 down to Maine.
All the way to Maine. Okay, good, cause it's
That
kind
was
of
like
falling
in
apart there in the middle.
2016 maybe.
Okay, cause the middle, like once you come over the bridge before you get to Maine, just that side, like where Sycamore needs to be done here soon at some point, but I think we need to finish all the sewers. I know they got that end down there, but we've got, but like that's why Dickerson's falling in the middle too, is cause they did a bunch of sewer work on it. Which we could see, we call it like skip patching. We could see how much that is, but I mean, I'd hate to spend a bunch on skip patching just to go pave it next year, but if there are other spots that maybe we could look at, depending on how much money we have, if there's just certain little sections of a road that might benefit better from skip patching, then maybe.
Better than a cold patch, but not as good as a.
Yeah, because the cold patch, I guess, doesn't hold up very well, especially come the winter time when it's snowing and the plows run over it, it just rips it all out,
Yeah.
so. But, so we're gonna put that out for bid. Does that work for those streets?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we supposed to prepare a whole bid thing, or are we good with just preparing it now that they said we could do it? I
I
probably
think
shouldn't
we
ask you.
have to, we probably need to put one together.
Well, we'll put one together, but do they have to approve it then once we put it together? Okay, well, we'll approve it the next meeting, but we're gonna do those streets, unless there's other streets that you guys can think of before then that you're like, this one really needs to be done beforehand, we're gonna go with South Liberty and Barkley.
Do you think Barclay's worse than Dickerson?
When Dickerson's only issue is just that middle where that sewer, do you think Barkley's worse than Dickerson? I mean, I thought, Dickerson's only really bad in that middle section there where they did that big
Yes.
sewer line repair. And that was where I was thinking maybe we could look at skip patching. But realistically, I think the whole road needs done at some point, so I don't know how much skip that really would cost us. But we could put it out for bid and just see it, and we have to do it if it's not much, just to get that section of Dickerson done. But if we're gonna try and pave it the next year, or get that section done and hold it off for a couple of years and find other roads, but, so I mean, if you guys wanna drive around town and kind of start looking, but they're all bad. Okay, we'll get that together then. And do you know, maybe, I don't know if you would know this, like the county puts theirs out though, based off like quantity or something, like how much they're buying, instead of by street.
It's by like linear foot or whatever, how that,
They do theirs differently, they don't do it like by street.
like instead of by street, it's like you will pave X miles.
Next
Like,
I have to go back and look at their bid, but yeah, it wasn't a street thing, it was about an amount. Maybe it was mileage that they were talking about, or,
So they just put out a broad bid for a certain amount of, like a distance, and then just pick and choose where that goes?
I know 159, they do that in batches. They do.
I almost feel like that would work better in a city, because in a county, it's like you're on one side of the county. Okay, now you're gonna go to the other side of the county and take all your equipment over there.
you know, their bid, when they put, cause they just put it out in the paper, like a couple weeks ago. And it was not, it didn't name streets, it was just they put it out. Yeah, and I don't know why that is. I mean, I might just call Dave Fields and ask him, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know enough about street paving, so I figured maybe somebody else would know that answer, but, okay. Alright, did we get committee reports?
You got ours, that's what we.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
majority of it.
Okay, we heard their report basically already. Did you guys?
We don't have one.
Okay. Council comments?
I have one.
Yes.
So I had a couple people that reached out to me about the stop sign at the athletic park. It's coming from the athletic park right there at McDonald's. It's completely faded out. And
Okay.
while we all know there's a stop sign there, it is a place where people from out of town are coming and going. Probably needs to be replaced.
Have them put a work order in tomorrow for the stop
Will you
sign.
send me first? What
It's
did
the
you
one
just
right
say?
at McDonald's.
That's straight there?
It's going the one that's going to 27.
McDonald's way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the McDonald's way.
Yeah.
I would, they'll fix
Yeah.
it. We'll make them fix it.
Oh, no.
Speaking of stop signs, what's wrong with the traffic light over there?
Hey, I've had people tell me they like the four-way stop.
Yeah, I mean,
and they
I'm
would
not
rather just
complaining.
keep
I'm
it a
just,
four-way stop.
I was just like curious.
They bought a control panel or something for it that is supposed to fix it.
Because I was talking to my brother, I was like, you know, it's cheaper than a traffic light, just a stop sign, just leave it there. Or not leave that there, but you know what I'm saying, like put in actual
Four-way
stop.
stop there, I've almost been T-boned there about 4 times because people do not stop at that
We
point.
didn't do that years now.
I mean, hey, I
Years
would
I've
be,
been here.
would you guys rather make that a four-way stop instead of a stoplight?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
please, okay. All right, well, how do we do
have a
that?
traffic light.
We'll just, we don't,
Just
I can
put a
just
traffic
do
light
that.
that's there, just have it flashing red all the time, that's basically like a stop sign.
That's fair.
The lower, don't put the nasty tire out there.
You can even leave the tires on.
I say, I mean,
Well,
does,
we would just put stop signs at each, like any other four, we'd put a stop sign at each
but I mean,
area and then put four-way on it, and then
Yeah.
everyone would stop, so that way we could get rid of the daggone light. I mean, here's the thing,
But
'cause if
people
you're
don't know,
coming,
people know how to do four-way stops, they don't know how to do them.
but they're gonna have to learn, I mean, cause I'll be honest, you can't
Dangerous.
you can't see the stoplight if you're going north at certain times of the day anyways, cause
Yeah.
the sun's shining right on you, can't see the thing. Heck, I mean, Brody pulled somebody over not too long ago because they thought it was like a stop and go, like it wasn't an extra stop, so they were doing a four-way stop at it, I mean.
yeah, I remember this was years ago, but I was stopping there, and the car in front of me just went straight through it, and just so happened the sheriff was sitting the other direction looking at me, and as they went through, I just see the sheriff go like this,
Yeah.
and does a U, he goes after him. Like, wow.
I mean, I can just do it's not by ordinance that we have a stoplight there, it's just there, it's not a state street,
I think
it's
you
just
can
ours.
just-
Alright,
You can do it, but now you've created a policy that you get to change all of them.
we can always put it back if it causes that
Well,
much of a rest.
To Craig's point, like, does that light have an option to do
Just
the
just
blink?
flash,
Yeah,
I
you can
think
always
that'll
test
just
that
con-
out as
but I
a,
think that'll just confuse people more.
I hope not, make them read their freaking driver's manual. I see
Just-
people that will stop at a blinking yellow but fly through a light that's completely dead. Like, are you kidding me?
Because then normally the flashing, the ones that just flash red are just the one light, it's not three, right?
Just make them all red.
Just change the.
Because they're all under red.
Just put a
Problem
bunch of
solved.
red bulbs in there, we're really gonna, like, people are gonna be real confused.
People will think they're going colorblind. They'll be like, is the bottom one red too? Like,
Can it not just be like every other street where you don't stop on the road?
it used to be that way.
Is
where
that
it's
not a
only
thing?
Maple, or is that Maple?
Only Maple
Yeah,
stops.
Only Maple
Yeah.
was the one that
Shelby
stopped for a
don't stop.
while. But my
Chapel's
understanding,
the worst one, I can't see coming
That's
off that
true.
road, like out of all
Every
the
other
streets
street.
over there, you cannot see, if you're coming off of Chapel, like it is.
you gotta inch out
It's
little
not
by
that
little.
busy of a street where they're
It
riding, it
warrants
doesn't have
a
to be a
four-way stop.
four-way stop.
No, that's what I've
Yeah.
been saying the whole time.
I mean, seriously.
I'm good with just taking the whole thing out, I don't care, just put
Just make
stop
two
signs
stop
on,
signs?
But they're
instead
free for all.
of one on Shelby, just put them there, I mean,
on Maple.
cause they're already slowing down as they're coming over the railroad tracks anyway, so they're gonna, be taking some air, but,
Some.
That's fine.
alright,
So one-way stop
yeah, we're just
Or
gonna take it
two-way
out.
stop or whatever.
or two, whatever that's called.
Definitely
So
not.
that's
Maple
the way it
stop
used-
only.
That's the way it used to be, and this is way before I even
Okay,
started coming to council meetings when they switched to the light. And the reason being was to try to get people to slow down going through there. But my argument back then was, well, if the light turned yellow, people were usually speeding up to try to get through the light before it turns red.
True.
So.
True. Okay. Any other comments?
So now that school's out, I guess the last two hydrants are gonna be addressed, cause I think you said they had to shut off the water again, citywide.
They're trying to, figure that out. They're gonna have to, we're hoping to shut down, there's three left. Two of them are on 4th Street.
Yeah, the one by North Key and then the one
The
fourth
one-
in Chapel.
Yeah, and I think that thing's been dead for a couple decades. And then I think the other one, I forget where it was at, somewhere on 27, but it's not really, they were looking at, instead of they might not have to replace it. It's just the part of the hydrant was broken or something, so they were looking to see if they couldn't just fix that part. But, so that one, they weren't for sure if they're gonna have to replace. But yeah, no, they're gonna have to sort that one.
Well, North Key, they have it paved
I
completely
know.
around it. I'm assuming
They
that's gonna
did
be their problem
Oh,
if
yeah,
you dig
they-
that up.
Yeah, no, it is. So they were told not to put concrete over all that,
Yeah.
is my understanding. Cause I'll be honest, I didn't even know there was one in that parking lot till they put those little border things around it. That's, cause I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was there before that, but I guess my understanding was they were told before they paved over there that they could not put concrete all around it, but they did anyway, so that's, well, yeah, that's their problem. Does that sound right? Would that be their problem? Okay, see, Steve says it's their problem. Any other?
You wanna rerun?
Oh yeah, you guys don't forget, the filing deadline's coming out.
Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
You guys running? I'm putting you all on the spot, I know. I mean, it's gonna be really lonely up here for Anthony, cause he's the only one that's turned in his papers so far, so I mean, he's gonna be
I have
taking
to
applicants
rebuild
all by
council
himself.
myself. Well, the governor would pick, what, 3 people, and then those 4 would pick the next 2.
So,
You know?
get your papers in. I think that's it. Yep. Oh, don't forget though, announcements. So they have the public forum on Wednesday the 3rd at
6:30 or something like that?
and Anthony's gonna speak on behalf of the city.
Yeah.
I thought it was Tuesday, second.
It's Tuesday 2nd,
It is
6
what?
p.m. is what I have here.
I got mine.
Yeah.
I got one for the second and one for the
Yeah, something else is the third.
Huh.
With Tammy.
Yeah, that is something that, yeah.
What I'm
that's
doing
what
is
it was.
the ad, and I forward that to Mr. Strong, and Mr. Olick is the presumably elected new magistrate for District 4 and judge exec. So
Yeah, Tammy Bader's got another meeting going on the 3rd at 5.
what's her meeting for?
Did you not get an invite?
If I did, I
It's
didn't.
for the industrial park.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you guys wanna go, yeah, and then the ad is on, I'm sorry, it is Tuesday on the 2nd at 6. And that's at the extension office. The meeting, the Pendleton County, the industrial park is on the 3rd at 5, and that's at the library. So. And then our next meeting, of course, is going to not be on a regular scheduled night. It is on the 9th. Or 8th. See, I'm screwing this all up because I didn't write this
Monday,
down.
the 8th.
The 8th, at what time? At 7.
Is it 7? I have 6 on here. Okay.
Probably.
Oh,
committee
I have
meetings.
6 on here for
Committees.
Yeah.
So our next meeting is on Monday, the 8th. I think that's all my announcements. You just need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. A second.
Everybody in favor?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do public comment.